Hey everybody, hope you all are doing great. It is a Monday night here for me, and just went outside and spent some time stargazing a little bit, and um, yeah, just expressing some gratitude and getting some late night grounding. I don't know if y'all have noticed this with your grounding, but at different times of the day, I kind of feel like my body gets a little different reaction. Um, yeah, at night it seems when I go out and ground, it kind of helps. Or if I go in the late evening and get the last bit of the sun, and then if I go back out, it helps tremendously with my sleep cycle. Some of y'all might want to try that out to you know go out and do some stargazing and see how that helps your sleep, if that's something that you struggle with, which I do from time to time. But anyway, we are on step 8, meditation 8. And this step is the prerequisite to probably the most actionable, I think actionable is a word, the most actionable step that we have engaged in so far. This is the beginning of the amends process, meaning which step 8 is, we made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Now, if you're looking for the people that you need to make amends to, you would go back to step 4, where you wrote down your personal inventory and listed, people that you've had issues with and that you've caused harm. So you would bring that list, those people off that list to this list. And I'm going to read out of a book called The 12 and 12 of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's the 12 Steps and 12 Tradition book. And basically what it does is it breaks down I'm going to read some of it. It breaks down the purpose of each step and, what you want to be looking to do in each step as you go through that process. And I think it'll be really valuable for us. So I'm going to read a couple paragraphs and then close it up. So we might next ask ourselves what we mean when we say that we have harmed other people. What kinds of harm do people do one another anyway? To define the word harm in a practical way, we might call it the result of instincts in collision, which cause physical, mental, and emotional or spiritual damage to people. If our tempers are consistently bad, we arouse anger in others. If we lie or cheat, we deprive others not only of their worldly goods, but of their emotional security and peace of mind. We really issue them an invitation to become contemptuous and vengeful. If our sex conduct is selfish, we may excite jealousy, misery, and strong desire to retaliate in kind. Such gross misbehavior is not by any means a full catalog of the harms we do. Let us think of some of the subtler ones, which can sometimes be quite damaging. Suppose that in our family lives, we happen to be miserly, irresponsible, callous, or cold. Suppose that we are irrational, critical, impatient, and humorless. Suppose we lavish attention on one member of the family and neglect the others. What happens when we try to dominate the whole family, either by rule of iron or by constant outpouring of minute directions for just how their lives should be lived from hour to hour? What happens when we wallow in depression, self-pity oozing from every pore, and inflict that upon those about us? Such a roster of harms done others, the kind that make daily living with us, practicing alcoholics, you can insert food addicts in there if you don't, obviously if alcoholic doesn't apply to you. Let me start over there. The kind that make daily living with us, practicing food addicts. I would say it like that. Difficult and often unbearable. Could be extended almost indefinitely. When we take such personality traits as these into shop, office, and the society of our fellows, they can do damage almost as extensive as that we have caused at home. Having carefully surveyed this whole area of human relations, and having decided exactly what personality traits in us injured and disturbed others, we can now commence to ransack memory for the people to whom we have given offense. To put a finger on the nearby and most deeply damaged ones shouldn't be hard to do. Then, as year by year we walk back through our lives as far as memory will reach, we shall be bound to construct a long list of people who have, to some extent or the other, been affected. We should, of course, ponder and weigh each instance carefully. We shall not want to hold ourselves to the course of admitting things we have done, meanwhile forgiving the wrongs done to us, real or fancied. We should avoid extreme judgments, both of ourselves and of others involved. We must not exaggerate our defects or theirs. A quiet, objective view will be our steadfast aim. Whenever our pencil falters, we can fortify and cheer ourselves by remembering what AA, which is Alcoholics Anonymous, but you can remember what a health revival has taught you. By remembering what a health revival in this step has meant to others. It is the beginning of the end of isolation from our fellows and from God. So again, I love how it closes right there, that it always brings us back to what the purpose, and this is something that my mom does and I do, is always bring you back to the purpose of what this work is about. It is about removing you from being isolated in your heart from God and from others, because that is the source of your addiction. That's the source of my addiction. That's what it does. It causes breaks in our relationships. And when you list these two steps, I'm not saying they're all not powerful, but these two steps that we're about to do, step 8 and step 9, that have to do with making amends to others, are extremely powerful. I've had some of the most amazing things happen with going back and finding people that I had offended and making amends with them, and they've become fast friends. And when in some instances in relationships that I thought we'd never be able to be friends because of the harms that I had done. And when I was sincere and just went back and, just told them, I laid out what I had done wrong. I said, hey, when we were living together, I was, I allowed my depression and my selfishness to push you away. I isolated myself from you and was not the kind of friend that you deserved and that you needed, and just lived a very selfish life. And I just want, I need you to forgive me for that. If you can't, I understand. But, I just want you to know from my part that, I recognize what I did, and, it was wrong. And, it's powerful to say those type of things. Basically, this step is learning how to apologize, is this beginning of learning how to truly apologize, to just take accountability of your own wrongs. And for me, I'll just say this: the only people in my life that I truly trust are people that I know practice this. So if you want to be somebody that people trust and that people value in their lives, this is a great step that will put you on the path of becoming more of that person. Even if you already are, you'll be somebody that people will be able to say, man, that person is truly humble, because when you admit your faults openly, it definitely helps you. Well, I got my mom calling right now, so I'm gonna